What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I've personally had a lot of criticisms toward Umar Johnson over the last 1 to 2 years on this channel, and those are recognizable if you search for them here. But for the purposes of this video, I will not discuss those differences of opinion. I'm going to deal with Dr. Umar Johnson strictly from a black manosphere perspective. Or for those of you who are in the greater manosphere community, a red pill perspective. Dr. Umar Johnson, despite what you may think about him, when it comes to dealing with women, especially black women, there's a reason why he has success with them, okay? And I know that Dr. Umar Johnson can be dishonest just like anybody else. But if you listen to some of his interviews or Instagram lives, he's very upfront about what he wants. And I've started to notice that, you know, from a lot of the content creators who are from the conscious community, you start to see that. You saw that with Brother Polite, with his 4 wives. You've seen that with Young Pharaoh. He had more than one woman, and you've seen Dr. Umar Johnson come out and say the same. I'm not a man that is going to have more than one woman. You know, if you're not okay with that, I'm sorry, but this is the lifestyle that I choose. I've heard Young Pharaoh talk about that. I've heard Brother Polite talk about that. I've heard Dr. Umar talk about that. Now, it is unorthodox to do that in the African American community because we follow the dating and mating patterns of white Christians, typically. But you must be able to say that his approach towards women is, number one, it's upfront, it's honest, and it's direct. Now, he may lie to them and tell them that, hey, I want to marry you. Hey, I want to do this and that. And they might believe. That's another story. But when you look at his lives or his Instagram feed, he's coming out and telling them straightforward, I am into polygamy. So those women who already don't like it, don't even waste your time. Okay? But the second thing that you notice with Dr. Umar Johnson is he has a lot of confidence in himself. He values his time. He believes that he is more important than anybody else. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. It is about how he feels. He is the ultimate decision maker, and you have to prove to him that you want to be with him. It's not the other way around. Okay? He is the prize. You benefit as a woman by getting with him. And if you don't believe me, I want to play this particular clip, and then I'm going to come back and talk about it.
I'm going to become a political polygamist. Listen to me, ladies. All single African nappy-headed queens, listen to me. All single nappy-headed African conscious queens. Political polygamy. I'm going to marry you politically. I'm going to give you a job to do. I'm not going to touch you sexually. I'm just going to give you a job to do. I'm going to let you know I am considering you, and I want to see how well you do political work. And I'm going to evaluate your political work to see if you make it to the next level of the Ifa Tunde wifey cuts. Can you do the work? It's no need to get married to a black woman who can't help the work. You got to be able to do the work, brothers and sisters.
Okay, so you heard what he had to say. Now, let me say this. I know guys will say, well, Umar has a big following. He's a lecturer. People know him. And that is why, he can say things like that. The reality is that any man who is a productive man and a benefit to society and that believes in himself can say exactly what Umar Johnson's saying. Okay? And what Umar Johnson is saying is that as a woman, you're a black woman, you want to deal with me, you have to achieve X, Y, and Z. I won't even touch you. It almost sounds like the pimping, right? And then once you prove yourself that you can do X, Y, and Z for me, then we can go to the other levels. And here's the problem with a lot of men. We as black men allow ourselves to just give anything and everything to a black woman for the fact that she's a woman, and we put her on a higher pedestal because she's pretty. So in other words, she agrees to go out on a date with you. You feel lucky that she's with you on the date and that you're paying for it. You feel lucky that she's spending her time with you, and you feel amazed by it. That's how a lot of black men look at it. Okay? But with a guy like Umar Johnson, it's like, I know that you can't find somebody like me, and that could be true, it could be false. But if you want to deal with me, here is your standard that you got to come into. He's making her prove themselves. And a lot of times, there's a lot of women that are making men prove themselves, which you still have to prove yourself as a man too. But then there's nothing that they have to do. And when a woman doesn't have to do anything to get you, that's how entitlement starts. And I've just been guilty of that too. Like, man, I'm dealing with this chick and I'm doing everything for her. Like, why doesn't she appreciate it? And it's like, oh, I've never required anything of her to do in the first place. And if she didn't stop doing it, then there was no punishment. I just kept doing it even if she didn't want to do it. So there was I lost respect even though I didn't do anything wrong. I lost respect from her as a man by not establishing any rules. And at that point, it was too late. So you had to end the relationship and start over fresh again with somebody else. But if more black men had this mentality about themselves, then I think a lot of the issues that brothers have with black women would be gone. Because the ones that are not supposed to be there won't apply. That's fine. Again, my approach, I would look at his and say, and that's kind of manosphere like anyway, but that's kind of thing I am. Like, hey, if you want to deal with me, something you got to be able to do. And he's right. What use is a black woman that doesn't want to do the work? Now, I don't know how he feels about other black men. I know he feels like that for himself, but that's true. What use is anybody that doesn't want to do the work, male or female? And when more black men in the community come and then you prove yourself to the standard that you are in the community, you stand on what you say, your reputation is good, and you are a person that is to be respected. You can sit back and say what Umar is saying, and you can't be a guy who don't have anything to offer, and you have a bad name, and you're not a guy that's doing anything. And I know you could argue that with Umar Johnson, but Umar Johnson is somewhat of a celebrity. He can still do that, even though he has evidence of doing the otherwise. But the point is, as a man that has something to offer, women have to apply for you. You want to be dealing with a man like, what is it you're doing? We're going to take sex off the table because I know you can do that. What else can you do? If it's nothing, then you're not even going to make the cut because I'm so valuable as a man. Somebody will be here tomorrow. That's why you got to always be a producer. A producer man, a productive man, a winner can talk like this. A guy who's not competitive can't talk like this. I want you guys to know that right now. This kind of talk he's talking like right now, a productive man can only say this. A serious winner can talk like this and mean it. But that's why Umar Johnson is much more red pill than we give him credit for. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.